Fred Vasseur has utterly lost his patience, firing off a public ultimatum that has set off alarm bells across Maranello. The Ferrari team principal warned directly during an interview with Auto Hebdo that Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc must respect the team above any personal vanity, demanding absolute, flawless behavior at the most crucial juncture of the season. Vasseur stated bluntly that both drivers need to behave themselves properly. Whilst this appears to be routine paddock diplomacy, it actually masks a massive crisis brewing just beneath the surface. The thin veneer of politeness between both men has collapsed entirely. The championship structure shifted dramatically towards Leclerc ever since the British Grand Prix. Charles secured a dominant victory on Hamilton's home turf at Silverstone and consistently outperformed the 7-time world champion across the subsequent rounds in Belgium and Hungary. That initial safety cushion has now dissolved into a fragile margin of precisely 31 points in the standings. They are fighting over the exact same square inches of asphalt every weekend, and telemetry data confirms their internal rivalry crossed reasonable boundaries during free practice sessions. Vasseur effectively laid his cards on the table by admitting that their sole daily ambition has devolved into simply finishing ahead of the driver on the other side of the garage. Maranello's technical shortfalls under the current regulations are directly worsening this internal feud. The Ferrari power unit incorporates a smaller turbocharger, designed to deliver ferocious acceleration out of low-speed corners, yet it struggles severely to harvest adequate electrical energy along extended straightaways. Because both drivers are forced into aggressive lift and coast management to recharge the hybrid deployment systems, the two cars remain perpetually stuck on identical race paces. When either driver launches a desperate attack, he burns through his stored electrical energy prematurely, jeopardizing the strategic outcome for the entire team. The entire situation boiled over when Vasseur chose to publicly taunt Red Bull Racing on live television. The Frenchman mocked their rivals by claiming they suffer no internal friction because they operate essentially as a single-car entity, arguing that Red Bull's ongoing technical development remains severely bottlenecked by relying solely on inputs from Max Verstappen. Yet this aggressive deflection exposes Ferrari's own tactical dilemma, as allowing equal status could easily lead to on-track collisions, whereas enforcing team orders threatens to alienate their newest marquee signing. Managing two lead drivers under severe power unit limitations creates an unstable environment where every remaining Grand Prix carries immense financial and sporting risks for the Scuderia. The technical nightmare at Mercedes has finally exploded beyond control and threatens to dismantle their championship dominance under the 2026 regulations. Team leadership has publicly confirmed that Andrea Kimi Antonelli and George Russell are guaranteed to suffer devastating grid penalties due to exceeding their maximum allocation of power unit components. In alarming statements published by Motorsport, broader engineering personnel admitted that component damage sustained across the opening phase of the season is completely permanent, rendering it mathematically impossible to finish the year without severe punishment from the governing body. The interior atmosphere within the Brackley garage resembles pure chaos, as operational limits are shattered. Teenage prodigy Kimi Antonelli has reached his fourth allowed electrical power element, meaning every single fresh component installed from this moment onward triggers an immediate drop of 10 places on the starting grid. Antonelli already sits at a significant point deficit in the standings and desperately requires clean racing, yet now faces the genuine prospect of being relegated to the very back row. George Russell finds himself in an equally precarious position, having endured repeated battery failures, water leaks within the engine cooling system, and severe gearbox software glitches that ruined his race pace during critical stints throughout the year. This catastrophic mechanical decay stems directly from the technical regulations introduced this season. The requirement for quadrupled electrical energy output from the kinetic motor generator unit and energy storage module created chronic short circuits alongside destructive thermal spikes across the high-speed layouts in Canada and Spain. Engineering staff insist that these fundamental defects were resolved by the aerodynamic and mechanical upgrade package introduced in Austria, but the early internal combustion units and hybrid hardware were rendered completely unusable, leaving the team with zero strategic buffer under strict financial cap boundaries. Adding fuel to an already volatile internal crisis, team management revealed they are actively considering sacrificing the Italian Grand Prix at Monza to force Antonelli into serving his grid penalties on home soil. Deliberately compromising the young Italian driver at his home circuit is an exceptionally cold tactical gamble designed to clear his component pool. Yet it exposes him to immense public scrutiny when starting from the back of the field. Ferrari, currently sitting second in the constructors' standings with 307 points, are preparing aggressive low-drag aerodynamic packages specifically tailored to exploit these penalty grid positions and slash the remaining points deficit. Managing reliability penalties whilst fighting off a rejuvenated Scuderia leaves the current championship leaders facing an unprecedented crisis where a single mechanical failure could collapse their title ambitions entirely. The structured hierarchy within the Red Bull driver development pipeline has collapsed entirely, triggering an immediate earthquake throughout the Formula One driver market. Liam Lawson has formally severed his ideological ties to the Austrian organization, confirming publicly that he is prepared to sign for any rival team capable of providing him with a race-winning car. During an exclusive interview with Planet Formula One, the New Zealander delivered a blunt message directly to the top management led by Helmut Marko, asserting that his ultimate career ambition is no longer tied to securing a seat at the senior Milton Keynes squad. Lawson declared emphatically that his priority is exclusively focused on running at the front of the grid and claiming Grand Prix victories, regardless of which team overalls he wears. This explosive declaration represents a crushing blow to the internal politics of the energy drinks manufacturer. Lawson is enjoying a defining campaign across the 2026 season, having amassed 43 points in the World Championship driving for Racing Bulls. Occupying 9th position in the drivers' standings, he has established himself as the undisputed leader of the midfield group, routinely outperforming far more experienced figures across the field. Lawson effectively dismantled any lingering doubts surrounding his brief, turbulent tenure with the senior team during 2025, utilizing telemetry data and consistent race pace to prove he has fully recovered from that humiliating demotion. His exceptional technical maturity, whilst extracting maximum performance from the Racing Bulls aerodynamic platform under the direction of technical director Dan Fallows, has raised alarm bells across rival pit garages. Williams team principal James Vowles is monitoring this volatile situation with intense focus, with the development of the FW48 chassis proving thoroughly disappointing and leaving the team languishing in 9th place in the Constructors' Championship. Williams has already shifted resources toward their 2027 strategy. They are actively seeking a high-profile replacement in the market in anticipation of the departure of Carlos Sainz. Alongside Williams, the new Cadillac entry is scrutinizing Lawson, viewing the 24-year-old driver as the precise technical leader needed to establish their competitive baseline. Tensions are escalating rapidly as the Red Bull Junior program attempts to force emerging talents such as Nikola Tsoloff into the Racing Bulls setup. Yet Lawson has made it unmistakably clear that he will not allow his career trajectory to be compromised or discarded by corporate dictates. The internal stability at Red Bull Racing has utterly collapsed, sending shockwaves throughout the Formula One driver market and putting rival teams on immediate high alert. Top management in Milton Keynes offered a lucrative 5-year extension designed to secure 4-time world champion Max Verstappen through to 2033. Yet the Dutch driver abruptly halted all negotiations. According to revelations published by German journalist Ralf Bach on F1 Insider,
it will be probably quite different. Also, just the speeds that you reach in certain places. Now, of course, we have our straight line mode before 130R, where in the last few years we never really had like a DRS style effect. Let's see. I mean, honestly, this is normally a track, of course, which is very hard to pass at. Maybe with the way the racing has been this year, you can pass. I hope I don't need to do as much passing as I had to do in China, but I don't know.
Verstappen categorically rejected the long-term contract offer for an explosive reason. He refuses, under any circumstances, to relinquish his confidential exit clause, which permits his immediate departure before October should he fail to occupy a top 2 position in the Drivers' World Championship standings. The underlying technical reality driving this refusal exposes deep-seated doubts regarding the competitiveness of the proprietary power unit manufactured by Red Bull powertrains under the 2026 regulations. Severe loss of floor downforce on the RB22 chassis, alongside recurring transmission lockups during rapid downshifts, has highlighted the team's inability to mask the technical void left by the departure of legendary designer Adrian Newey. Bach confirmed that the sole compromise Verstappen might entertain would be a brief 12-month agreement covering 2027, allowing him to observe whether Newey's successors can construct a championship-caliber chassis before committing his long-term future or retiring from the sport entirely. This unyielding stance has triggered intense emergency planning across rival garages up and down the pit lane. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff is meticulously tracking every development surrounding the Dutch driver, whilst McLaren has emerged as a serious alternative destination for 2027, aligning with potential contractual openings within their lineup. Unless Red Bull delivers a monumental performance breakthrough with their DM01 power unit configuration next season, Verstappen will almost certainly execute his exit clause to partner with a fully established rival manufacturer. Executive pressure on team leadership has reached an unsustainable boiling point as the threat of losing their star driver becomes an imminent reality.